Yeah. This is the first meeting of the Outreach and Education Committee of the Commission for Conservation of the Environment. Wednesday, December 18th, 2024. 2:17 p.m. Work session room, clerk's office, City Hall. Call to order. Darius Bang.
Here.
Richard Giannaccio here. Scott as guest for now.
Yeah.
Observer. Thanks for coming, Scott. Would you like to say anything during the public comment?
No, I'll reserve comments. I'm just here to see what you guys want to do.
Okay, thank you. So we'll start as we always do with the first meetings with the election of officers. Have nomination for chair, vice chair, and secretary. Starting with chair. Any nominations?
I'll nominate you, Richard.
How about co-chair? Would you be interested in doing that?
Yeah, I would do co-chair.
So I'll nominate you.
All right.
We'll vote as co-chairs. All in, any discussion? Call the vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Okay, so Darius, you and I will be co-chairs of the Education and Outreach and Education Committee.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
And
And then as far as secretary goes, what should we do for that? I guess I could be secretary for this committee as well.
how about acting secretary, and maybe we'll get Shreyash to do it, because commission members have to be the chairs, but secretary could be somebody from the community.
Okay. Yeah, that
So-
sounds good then.
If you would like to be the acting secretary, and unless you want to be the secretary,
No, I'll be acting secretary, and then we'll see if Shreyash is interested.
if he's interested in doing it, we'll make him the secretary. So all in favor of Darius being the acting secretary? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Discussion of committee mission. Okay, so the Outreach and Education Commission was originally proposed at our first meeting in April. And it was proposed by Ashley, but then she didn't want to join it. So I ended up being the only member until Darius joined recently. And that's why this is the first meeting, because I wasn't scheduling meetings with myself. And then Shreyash also wanted to join that one. And we had a couple other people interested, but I don't know if they're going to come through. They may. They're students, so we'll see what happens when the new semester starts. But you know, the purpose of the committee is to actually reach out mostly to the public. But I guess also we could reach out to anybody who's interested. I was thinking specifically, like we did do a zoning meeting with the South Side Neighborhood Assembly. And I was thinking of when we do issues like fluoridation or other things where the public needs really to be educated on these issues, because they have the old 80-year-old folklore of fluoridation is good for your teeth, right? And no problems, safe and effective, and one of the miracles of the 20th century. So where can we go? I thought, there are like 6 of these neighborhood groups, one in each council district, except the South Side has 2 joined. Do you know where your neighborhood group is, Scott?
Yeah, first ward. They call it the First Ward Neighborhood Watch, but
Neighborhood Watch.
they're trying to function like a neighborhood assembly, and I suggested at last meeting, maybe they should change their name, and that's gonna be considered. Now, I also heard that not all the groups in the districts are functioning, but different council
Yeah,
people are looking to
yeah.
restart them.
A few years ago, the South Side was the only one that was functioning. And, on the North Side, I went to that one a couple of months ago because they came to ours. I'm on the South Side, and they came to ours a few years ago. And, some of them were dormant, but they really relied on, see, Matt Ryan started them when he was the mayor. And when Rich David came in, they were kind of left on their own. I mean, Rich David came to our group, the South Side Assembly, once a year. And he sent a representative to each meeting to take notes and report back to him. Who was Megan at that time, now the deputy mayor. So, they have these neighborhood groups. They function at different levels. It's been up, like Angela Riley, when she came in, she tried to get her group going again. It really depends. The council person has to kind of sometimes give it a little lift, to help revive it a bit. And so I don't know the current status of all of them. But if they're having meetings, we could, touch base with them and ask them if they'd be interested in us speaking about an issue. It could be an environmental issue. There's been some interest in starting a food or food safety group as task force on the eco-toxicology committee or as a separate committee, because people are interested in, healthy diet. And the PFAs, they're in the food too, right? And water gets used to prepare prepared foods, so they're in soda, they're in drinks. They're everywhere, so. We may start that committee. Or a task force, because it could go into eco-toxicology if it's just has to do with like food dyes and artificial flavors and contaminants in the food, pesticides. But if it goes to the point of, healthy diet, then I think it goes out of the eco-toxicology realm into a more, topic of its own. So we'll have to see what direction that takes as to whether it makes sense to have it as a task force or a separate committee. But with these topics, we have to identify topics that we think people might be interested in, or maybe they should be interested in because there's pending legislation, like with the zoning, right? It's not a topic that we just thought of, but it was because actually the climate action plan is supposed to be voted on tonight too. Climate action plan, it doesn't get much coverage in the news, and certainly there's no opportunity for people to ask questions, to have a dialogue or a discussion, so we can provide that for these neighborhood groups. We can also go to the senior center. We can go to schools. We have high school, we have lower schools. And, if they're interested in environmental issues, it could be just general environmental stuff too for the children, just to give them a foundation, to understand what's going on. Anything to add to that, Darius? What do you think?
Um, I think it's a good idea to, bring it up to the commission and see what we want to do about the food and safety committee or, task force, see what's more appropriate.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I think it'd be a good idea to get out there and, get these ideas out to the public and hopefully, get a good feel for how they feel about these sort of things and, inform them about what we gathered from our research.
yeah, and I think that would give us plenty to do, because most of these, well, the senior center is there every day, Monday through Friday, so you just make an appointment to go in. The neighborhood groups generally meet once a month in the evenings. And like what I did with the South Side, I made up a slide presentation because it was a very complex topic, zoning, I thought, so it would be good to have some visuals up there. And I did it with Shreyash and it worked out pretty well. I can so that was like a kind of like our experimental, we call it soft opening. Kind of a trial, yeah. It worked out pretty well, just and people ask questions and one of the, well, two of them actually, mother and son actually came to the city council meeting and spoke. The mother spoke at the public hearing and the son was the guy that spoke and said he used to work for the sewage treatment plant. And he just made regular comment during the public comment period. But both of them found out about the zoning proposal because they came to the South Side Neighborhood Assembly. So if we had more time, we could go to the different neighborhood groups. We would help more people to be aware of what's going on. And we could give priority to anything that's connected to legislation or that the city council has requested us to look into.
Yeah, it just makes me think though that some of this outreach would not be within the CCE as much as the city itself, whether it's city planning or some other part of the city government.
Yeah, but they don't do it.
Yeah, so I understand why you would want to, they're not doing it. On occasion, they do have public hearings on things or informational meetings. I've been to a few.
I mean, like I said, for the children, we could take a lighter approach, maybe just, give them a talk about wildlife or, just environment and how we need to preserve our environment, climate change or something like that, just a general topic that would augment what they learn in school and give them a more solid foundation or a special topic that they might be interested in.
One program where that might work well in the school district is this mentoring program they do. I help with that on Thursdays.
Yeah.
So it's starts lots of K through 12. Well, not K through 12. Second grade through 12, I think.
So you go to
School.
elementary and
I do it at
school
elementary
and high
school.
school?
And they just supplement whatever, the academic work is. There's an interesting topic that gets presented.
So what, do you talk in front of a group?
Yeah, I mean, they meet once a week.
Who's the
Kids,
they? Oh.
the kids that are being mentored.
Okay,
I
how
can give
many in a
you,
group usually?
the one I go to. It varies somewhat, but I mean. Not quite 20, somewhere in the teens, I'll say, usually. I can give you the name of the woman that runs the program.
What age group are you dealing with?
We have second through fifth grade,
Through to 5?
but they do it at the upper
Yeah,
grades,
right.
so. Each level would have to be dealt with a little differently, I would think, if you want to take on whatever.
Yeah, so I would
topic
think that
and
maybe, you
environment.
know, if we have several members on the committee. One person would maybe do the high school, another person would do the middle school, another person would do the lower classes. Right, and then within I mean, we have several elementary schools, so what do you go from do you have one group of 20 in each school? Is that the way it works?
Yeah,
And how do these 20 students get selected from the whole student population?
it was a decision based on the teachers, staff. And at Theodore Roosevelt School where I go to, the school psychologist also has input, but it seems like it just got opened up so that kids can select and join.
Oh, I see. So,
But so it seems to be maybe a little bit in flux on that. Might be good to just do a trial run, and I could try to set something up in January, maybe at Theodore Roosevelt School. I can talk, I'll be going tomorrow, I can talk to the woman that runs it, she thinks.
but it's for the students, whoever wants to do it, it's not like for honor students or.
Right, the original intent was to get kids that weren't the top performers or the kids that were the lowest. The kids that just could use a little extra attention. Because the top performers don't need it as much as what the
Okay.
feeling was.
So are you basically helping them with their schoolwork or
No,
you're doing something totally different?
no, we just have different activities. A lot of times it's just playing a game with them, but
It's more to get the interaction. Right?
yeah, just have an adult showing an interest in each one of the kids. And then they will try to address different topics. I mean, they've brought in music and exercise topics for kids. General wellness is something that's tried to incorporate into the program.
So is this run from the school district at the Columbus School?
Yes, the woman that runs it is at the Columbus School, but she
So
deals with all
maybe I
the,
should contact her, right?
yeah, so. It's Mary Ann Dorner. Let me give you her email address. If you want it, right? You want it right now?
Yeah, okay, if you want to just email it to
Direct
me. that'll be
email,
good.
I'll email it to you.
Okay, great, thanks. So, do you have anything to add, Darius, in terms of ideas?
Not really. I think that's a good idea, getting engaged with like the just younger population in general, getting them more aware of these environmental issues. Sounds like a good opportunity.
Yeah, I'm sure there's other programs that it might fit in with. I'm just not familiar with all of them within the school district. But
over the next few, weeks, we could look into that, see what other programs there are, if there was anything that might fit better. But it sounds like a good start, getting in touch with them and, uh, um, seeing if this is the right fit.
All right, so, let's hold off until the next meeting before we set up committees. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that's
But what would you think of in terms of, what should we think about in terms of committees? See, I'm thinking that we could have task forces for topics that come and go, like fluoridation, right? We're not gonna be doing that forever. We're gonna be doing it, then we try to get the legislation passed. And then, maybe it comes up every once in a while, but it's not always gonna be on the front burner. Because other issues will come up, right? We might wanna. And then we'll have different issues probably for the different groups too. Seniors versus community groups versus students.
Mhm.
Maybe we could do something on campus too. Right? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good idea.
Even SUNY Broome too.
Mhm.
See, so. I'm thinking that committees would be something that's more stable, so we might want to have a committee just to make sure that we keep in touch with everything, a committee for the neighborhood groups, a committee for the campus groups, a committee for the school.
Do you mean committee or like individual task forces, like under the committee?
Committees,
Committees under the commission?
yeah. But that could be just one committee too, that just with all of those subtitles, right? Neighborhood groups, campuses, schools, and the senior center. We only have one senior center in Binghamton now. We used to have more. And maybe other community groups too. Sometimes there are these community groups that meet in churches or wherever. And the task force, task forces would be more finite for topics that we want to deal with. Like we would do a campaign for fluoridation, and then maybe we do a campaign for, environmental preservation or.
Would all these committees like meet at once, like just one group meeting of all the committees, or just because I feel like it might be like a lot to have all different committees since we're all going to be working on different, like, one of us is
Yeah,
gonna
maybe that's
high school.
just a committee for. Well, what did you think? I was thinking of a committee just to keep tabs on all the groups. Like, okay, we went to this group in January, we're gonna go to that group in February, because like the neighborhood groups, they only meet once a month.
Yeah, I was
And
just thinking like this committee could be like that, um, like the overseeing committee, and then like
yeah,
we'll have task forces underneath that, and the task forces can pertain more to, whether it's senior
and then
or
the task forces for the topics.
um I guess so, yeah. I just feel like it would be more efficient to have like task forces for like each like group that we're going to be targeting, like whether it's, campuses or, that the school, the K through 12 schools, um, or
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to like set it down in stone or something, just think about it next,
yeah, something to come back, next meeting maybe.
because it might not fit into the usual structure.
Yeah.
So if I could ask something, Richard,
Sure.
I mean, do you want to keep the topics pertaining to what the commission is working on in general?
Not necessarily. I think we have to make decisions, but I think it's what the commission works on, because of course we pick topics that we think are important, right, for the community. But it's also what they are interested in. And so it might be different for the seniors and for the students, school kids, and for the neighborhood groups. Say,
Well, that would be a tall order, I think, if you take on whatever other people are interested in. That's my own opinion. Because you would need to do a fair amount of prep work,
right,
whereas if you keep it with what the commission's already interested in, there's less of that. And you can speak with a little more authority, I'll say.
that's a way to do it too. Yeah, we could say, okay, this month we're focusing on this, and then if they're interested, they can invite us to speak. If not, maybe
Yeah.
they'll be interested next month. Topic.
Because the topics we've talked about, we have some standing, how's that?
Mhm.
But anything else like ozone quality in the air, whatever you want to go to, we don't have any standing. Yeah. And I'm sure over time we'll have, that'll build up. We'll have more topics that we've already sunk our teeth into. And it'll happen gradually, right?
Yeah,
It's
it'll
gonna be
evolve.
an issue, the city, the council, and you get asked to do it, they look at it too, and so. Anyways, I gotta run,
Okay,
so, thanks for
So
letting me
that-
stay.
Yeah, of course.
that sounds good. In the future meetings, we're just gonna have them, like I said, right after the other one. And
Feel better, Darius.
Thank you.
take care,
All
Scott.
right, we'll see you
Have a good one.
tomorrow.
Yeah, see you then.
Tomorrow, yeah, you're gonna be zooming in tomorrow again?
Yeah, I'll zoom into that one as well.
Yeah, give yourself a chance. So, any final comments?
No, I feel like that's a good place to start. Just, we'll think it over in the next couple weeks, and hopefully you'll hear back from more students who
Yeah,
want
I
to join.
mean, part of the situation is that we don't know how much, people power we're gonna have in this committee yet.
Yeah, that'll determine how much we could
Alright.
do as far as outreach. So,
That makes a difference also. All right, so I think we're established. I wanted to have a meeting so that we could get things rolling, and then next month when we come back, we won't be starting from square one. Right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Co-Chair,
yeah, of course.
and we have a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Second, favor, aye. Thank you, Darius. Take
Yeah, of
care.
course.